Alright, welcome guys and gals to Frickin' Laser Designs and Tutorials. I'm Jonathan Benson, and today we're going to take a look at how to clean a Glowforge. If you already own a Glowforge, you know it doesn't take long to get dirty. So, how do you clean it? Well, if you go to the Glowforge Support tab, under Cleaning, Service, and Moving, you'll see that they don't tell you a whole lot. Basically, they tell you to remove your crumb tray, empty it, wipe the metal floor, clean the dimples, replace the tray, and then clean your lenses with Zeiss wipes. And clean the exhaust. That's basically about it. But what do you do when your Glowforge is really dirty? Well, lucky for you, I let mine get exceptionally dirty so we could learn together. So let's do it. Okay, before we actually go through the cleaning process, I want to give you a little tour of my Glowforge and show you how dirty it actually was. Now, if this doesn't interest you, you can go ahead and skip to about a minute 25 in the video where we start the cleaning process proper. Okay, before we get started cleaning, we'll need to gather our materials. In this case, I gathered a small vacuum, contact cleaner, canned air, white vinegar, water, a bowl, a cleaner, degreaser spray, microfiber cloths, shop towels, cotton swabs, pipe cleaners, a toothbrush, a Torx screwdriver with a T10 bit, and some Zeiss wipes. One important thing, before you clean your Glowforge, be sure to unplug it. Alright, let's get cleaning. The first thing we're going to need to do is vacuum the Glowforge to remove dust and crumbs. After you feel like you've done a good job vacuuming, spray the area with canned air. More than likely, doing so will bring out more dust and crumbs. If so, vacuum again. Repeat the process until you feel good about it. Also, be sure to check the door hinge assembly for any crumbs that might find their way in there. If anything's there, clear it out. If you have a Pro model, you'll want to get a Torx screwdriver with a T10 bit and remove the inside rubber gasket that covers the pass-through slot. The gasket gets very dirty and will need to be cleaned. Now let me go ahead and speed this up. After the gasket's removed, you'll want to clean the inside of the door. In this case, I'm using a mixture of 1 cup water to 1 cup vinegar and applying or scrubbing with cotton swabs and microfiber cloths. Depending on how dirty your machine is, though, this could take a while. In fact, you may want to let the mixture sit a bit before wiping it off. Ultimately, it's up to you. In the end, it should come pretty clean. When it's clean, you can go ahead and shut the door and wipe the outside down if it needs it. In my case, I elected to wipe down the outside and then came back to the inside to give it another once-over. I also used my water-vinegar mixture to wipe down the metal floor of the Glowforge. Okay, now it's time to focus on the laser tube. The first thing I did was remove the laser head and put it in a safe place. Once I positioned the tube where I wanted it, I dipped a clean microfiber cloth into the water-vinegar mixture, wrung it out, and began wiping the tube. Let's go ahead and speed this up. Now to get under the tube, Glowforge forum member SMH4WD suggested getting packing tape and attaching coffee filters to it and threading it under or around the tube and pulling it through the other side. I didn't have any coffee filters, so I used shop towels. In any case, as you can see, the packing tape is a great idea and it got the job done. So special props to SMH4WD, great idea. Now, one real quick note, after I was done using the packing tape around the tube and felt like that it was adequately clean, I did get canned air and dried it up a bit. I didn't want to keep it wet. I didn't know how much moisture might be hiding up under the tube and for how long. After I used the canned air, I then turned to a cotton swab to try and get under the metal framing that keeps the tube in place. After I felt the tube looked pretty good, I began to focus on cleaning the left and right interiors of the Glowforge. I did this using a clean microfiber cloth dampened with the vinegar water solution. I was also careful to wipe and inspect the drive belts to make sure there were no particles that could compromise smooth movement. When it came to electronics that had dust and debris on them, I used electronic contact cleaner to knock it off. Be sure yours is plastic safe. Cleaning the glass top of the Glowforge is pretty straightforward. I again used a dampened microfiber cloth and wiped all around it, both the interior and the exterior. And basically it was a bunch of rinse and repeat. Do it, dry it, do it again, dry it, until you get most of the spots and smudges off. Overall, it looked pretty good. When it came to cleaning the overhead camera, I used, per Glowforge recommendations, a Zeiss wipe. The crumb tray was a mess. Obviously, the first thing I did was dump the crumbs. Then, I gave it and the rubber plastic pass-through gasket a liberal spraying of WD-40 Specialist Industrial Strength Cleaner and Degreaser, which is safe on plastics, aluminum, etc. Once sprayed and allowed to sit for a while, you'll want to get scrubbing. I used a toothbrush and pipe cleaner. In retrospect, I wish I had used a tire brush as well, simply because the bristles are longer and stiffer. Overall, though, it got pretty clean. Now, I do need to note there was still dust residue in the honeycomb that I was simply too lazy to try and go after. Here, I'm simply remounting the pass-through gasket. We'll speed this up. One of the last things we need to do is clean the laser head and lens assembly. You'll notice that the fan on the back of the head assembly gets quite dirty, so here I'm using canned air to spray it clean. Later I'll go back and use contact cleaner on it. Now I'm sorry I don't give you a very good view of this, but what I'm doing is taking out the lens, and then I'm going to grab the contact cleaner and spray that fan so as to get the dust off. There was a lot of dust still there even after I used the canned air, so now I'm using contact cleaner and basically saturating it. I'll then go back to the canned air and spray this contact cleaner so it'll evaporate quicker. I'll speed this up. Note that I'm now using a Zeiss wipe to wipe over the laser head assembly. And now I'm going to use another clean Zeiss wipe to wipe the actual lens of the laser head assembly per Glowforge instructions. Let's go ahead and speed it up. At this point, there's not a lot left to do but to look for any missed spots and clean them up. When you feel good about it, stick your crumb tray back in and admire your clean Glowforge. The only other thing I'd like to add is to make sure after you clean your Glowforge, give it time to dry out completely before plugging it back in. In my case, I let it sit 24 hours. Alright, this concludes our tutorial and walkthrough. I'll leave you now with some images of a clean, or at least cleaner, Glowforge. Take care.